What's going on, people? Welcome to the United Stand. Welcome to the Ole Gunnar press conference reaction. We've got a lot to get through. We've got Woodward's been grovelling. We've got to talk about that. I'm not interested in what he had to say, but we're going to go through some of the comments. We've got Ole talking about he's been backed by the owners. We've got Ole saying he's had great support. He doesn't really care about Liverpool. He wants to fight for all fronts for the Premier League, obviously. He's been talking about the protests as well, the boycott, the ESL, social media boycott, that is, and the ESL as well. And obviously some news on Cavani staying as well. So a lot to get through today. A lot to get through. Big up to everyone in the 360. Let me know where you're watching from as well, because we've got a lot to go through. We're going to have a lot of quotes up today. I mean, the Ed Woodward quotes, we're not going to start with that. We'll start with Ole and what he was saying about the Liverpool game. But honestly, some of the Ed Woodward quotes, you just couldn't write it, even though they have been written. Like it's typical. It's typical. Just, proper grovel central, and the Glazers are just still letting him be the mouthpiece to go out there and accept all the blame. To be honest, shocking stuff. But anyway, on to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Not a normal type of press conference. Normally we get to watch it. We get to kind of feel the energy of how he's talking and stuff like that. And I like to watch the press conferences, because one thing is reading the quotes, but another thing is listening to how they're said, his facial expressions, how he said it, the tone, etc., etc. But let's get into it. These are some quotes from what Ole said. He said, "It's important that the fans' views are listened to and we communicate better. My job is to focus on the football side and that we have the best possible team. But I'm so happy all the clubs have agreed that this shouldn't be the way moving forward. Then again, when the protests are on, it's important they go in a good fashion and that we keep it peaceful." I mean, look, pretty normal stuff from Ole. I think he's right to do that. Like he said, he can't come out and say, "I don't think the protest should happen. Everyone should stay at home." You're just going to rile up the fans on it. And I thought he dealt with the first presser when it was on the first Friday after the ESL collapsed. I thought he dealt with that very well. So I'm not surprised to see him deal with this in a similar way. The fact that he said it's important that the fans' views are listened to and we communicate better. He's saying what the club is saying, but he's also calling out, Ed Woodward and the owners, saying, get your shit together. You need to communicate better. We know that. He knows that. The players probably know that. But Ole can only say so much. He can't. What's he going to do? Come out and completely ruin them? He's not going to do it. But I'm so happy all the clubs have agreed that this shouldn't be the way moving forward. Again, he was very vocal about that. And Ole got off with one. Not that he would have been for it, of course not, because Ole was nothing to do with this, and neither were the players. But he got off one. He got off with one in terms of, by the time his press conference came around before. What game did we play on the weekend? I can't remember. The game's going so far. Oh, the 0-0 against Leeds. That was it. By the time it came round to that game, everything had just collapsed. So his job was made a little bit easier, and he had the whole week to sit and prep for that. So I'm not going to expect him to start coming out with wild crap now. Like, he's just not going to do it. And I don't think he ever would have, because he's not behind it. He did also go on to have more quotes as well, where he was basically saying, there's another quote here. It says, "The players are focused on the game and nothing else. They've handled difficult situations before." And this is when he was asked, basically, would the protests affect the players before such a big game? They've had difficult situations before, of course. It was a strange week before the Leeds game after the Super League announcement. So he's admitting, you got to read between the lines there. And again, it's difficult because we can't see him, we can't hear him, how he's saying it, or look at his face. But even from reading that, he's basically saying, mate, in the week leading up to that Friday where I done my press conference for the Leeds game, it was a strange week. He said it was a strange week. In other words, I'm reading between the lines. God knows what the players were coming to him and saying. We know what Harry Maguire potentially did. We've read about what Bruno did, and Luke Shaw, obviously, we know he spoke up. Players were probably banging on Ole's door saying, "Ole, what the hell's going on? What are we signing up for?" And he was probably saying, "Listen, they're on it. I've got news that they're going to be cancelling this thing, but just sit tight," because they were probably all pissed together. Do you know what I'm saying? He also goes on to say, "I'm very pleased we've had this boycott," Solskjaer said. "I think it's important. Ever since I've come here, we've been speaking regularly in intervals too often about racism, discrimination and abuse." And there you go. That is it. That is it in a nutshell. I mean, that is part of the social media boycott. They've obviously asked him what he thinks about that. And it's racism, discrimination and abuse all in everything. It isn't just racism. This is complete discrimination against people who are disabled, people from different religions, against women in sport, against people of different sexual orientation, and just generic online abuse. Players missing chances or a bad result, and then their families getting called every name under the sun, or getting called this, getting called that, and then people like you and I who are just using social media to voice our opinion or interact about football or whatever you use social media for, and you can't even do that. You can't even do that without getting absolutely ripped on social media, which obviously isn't very good. He also said, as I've said before, I've been backed. I've had, now this is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets interesting. I said on the show last week in the anticipation of Ollie's press conference that I understand that we can't get miracles. I understand that Ollie can't do a Kev and do that in the presser. I understand that. But he needs to be careful not to go too far left or too far right. I'm not trying to be political. He needs to understand that, because if he doesn't, and he gives the Glazers too much credit, then he'll start to lose a few. And I think he dealt with that really well. So this is what I was interested to talk about. As I've said before, I've been backed. I've had great support from the club and the owners, and I'm sure I will get the backing to go one step further. Look at that as you like. Jeremy says lies. And 97k as well. We are on a petition as well, which is absolutely fantastic. The link is will be in the video description, or we'll put it in the chat there as well for you guys, for the petition. Make sure we get that signed. We're at 97k. We need to get to 100. All football fans, if you're watching this and you don't support Manchester United, just sign it. You know what I mean? We're going to get that petition link up for you guys as well. That is fantastic. Keep signing it. Keep signing it. But back to this, yeah. You can read that how you want to read it. It depends on what your agenda is, really. Not that you should have one, but some people do. Some people do. I think if your agenda or your thoughts and feelings are kind of not feeling Ollie anyway, it's been pinned as well, the petition link as well. So make sure you guys click that, and then you can go and sign up to it for the 50+1 reshape. If you've got a negative viewpoint of Ollie, then you're going to look at that and say, how's he been backed? He's lying. Or say, I've had great support from the club. No, you haven't, because we still need a centre-half. We still need a defensive midfielder. We still need a right winger. We still need to secure Cavani. We still haven't signed. You could do all of that. Or you could look at it and say, well, actually, he's putting out to public to challenge them to back him to go one step further. If you look at the last bit of what he said, I'm sure I will get the backing to, again to go one step further. Now, if this season finishes how we're anticipating, or how we're hopeful of it finishing, which is obviously winning Europa League and finishing second, he's basically saying, I want to go a step further. One step further than second is first. So he's basically saying out in public, I'm sure I will get the backing to go one step further. So he's leaving himself open there, because if they don't back him in the summer and don't give him what he wants, then we know he's been on record as saying, I need this kind of backing to go one step further. We've got to read between the lines here. And look, my kind of depicting of what's going on is probably the same as yours. We haven't seen his face when we're saying it. We haven't heard the tone. But if you're reading that, like I said, it depends. It depends whether you're pessimistic or optimistic, or it depends whether you feel negatively about Solskjaer's progress in general, and that a Europa League final win won't change your mind. If that's you, it's not what I think. But if you think that, you might look at that and say, why is he being a puppet? Why is he saying he's been backed when he clearly hasn't? But I don't look at it like that. I look at it a bit more astute than that. And I'm saying, well, I'm not going to expect him to come out and say, well, I need a centre half. I need a right winger. Look at us with Sancho last year. It was an absolute shit show. They told me I was going to get him, and we didn't agree the price, and then we didn't get him. Then we got Cavani last minute. Oh, yeah, we couldn't mind we paid for Diallo. He's not going to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? And so if you want to waste your energy or use your energy, it's a bit unfair for me to say waste if that's what you want to do with it. If you want to use your energy to kind of look at the negative of that and think Ollie's just kind of being a puppet to them, then that's up to you. But I think you've got to read between the lines on that one. On to some more comments here as well. He says, we know that they've done, and this is on the Liverpool game now, turning our attention to that. We know that they've done what they have done in the last 3 or 4 seasons. He said they've been top of the league, they've won the Champions League, and they've had some amazing seasons. That's the challenge for us. I like that, because as much as we hate Liverpool and Man City, that is the challenge. We have to surpass them. That's the challenge for us. to have that consistency now that we've moved up the table and that we also challenge City. I like that he's bringing in City to it so that they feel that they still need to win a few games. Well, that's probably as in now to the end of the season, saying, don't be losing against Liverpool. Don't take your foot off the gas, because it looks like we got Champions League all but shored up. It looks like we got second all but shored up. Don't take your foot off the gas, because one little slip up and City can pretty much win the league. So yeah, keep them on their toes. You fight to win the Premier League. That's the bread and butter, the dream. That's what everyone wants. But there's almost like another trophy, second, third, and fourth, because Champions League is such a massive tournament to be in. Yeah, it is. I know there's more quotes where he's basically saying there's a lot of financial gain in it. You get to play against the best players. And he's right. He's right. But the bread and butter is the league, though. I do agree with that. The bread and butter is the league. I've said it many times before. When Solskjaer made that comment, which I think was not ill-judged, it was ill thought out. It was ill executed. It was badly executed. You shouldn't have used those words. But when he said sometimes trophies can be for egos, what I think he should have said is that sometimes trophies can mark how you're actually doing. That's how he should have said that line for me. It just rubbed people up the wrong way, including me. I thought, I know what you probably meant, but you shouldn't have said it like that. But this is what he's saying here, that it's the bread and butter. The league is the bread and butter. How you're doing over 38 games is a much better judgment of, a mini league to get through, then the round of 16, then quarterfinal, semi-final, final. Like, what's that? A maximum of what? 15 games, maybe? Something like that, if you go all the way. Something like that. Home and away against 3 others. That's 2, 4, 6. Yeah, so maybe not even that. Maybe not even that. Do you know what I mean? Maybe like 10 games. But whatever it is, 38 games is a lot better judgment of how you're doing, in my opinion. That's what I'd rather go off. He also says sometimes top 4 isn't even secure. Arsenal and Chelsea can still win respective tournaments. Exactly, Chelsea can win the Champions League, and they're fighting to try to stay in the top 4. Arsenal are way off the top 4, never going to get there, but are potentially in a final as well. So the Champions League, if you win it, is only 13 games. So there you go. What you're going to say, if you win the Champions League but you finish 9th, it means you're great. Not really. You could have had some favourable draws and had the game of your life in a one-off game in the final against Bayern Munich or something. Stranger things have happened. And I'm not saying that the Champions League is shit, and it should, I'm not saying that. But again, context, guys. I could imagine people sitting there going, "What do you mean that if you win the Champions League, it means you're the best team in Europe?" But the difference is usually if you win the Champions League, you're usually up there fighting in the league as well. Do you know what I mean? Or you're there or thereabouts. You're not normally 10th in the Champions League, maybe in the Europa League, as we're seeing with Arsenal. But I just think a gauge of how good you're doing and judging your consistency is way better to look at 38 games than it is 10. That's just maths. That's just science. That's just, the best way to get a bunch of averages is to play more games. That's just natural life. So he's saying sometimes the top 4 isn't even secure. Arsenal and Chelsea can still win respective tournaments and not be top 4. So we've just got to make sure we are doing our job and getting into the Champions League ourselves. 100%. Take care of your own team. Don't worry about other people. And before this season, we all had worries how this season was going to go for players. Which is Liverpool, have had bad injuries. This season has been a different season to any other season in modern football. I just focus on ourselves. And that was basically a question we're saying, what do you think about Liverpool's injuries and stuff like that? And I like that. Yeah, it's not nice, but we don't give a shit. Like, I'm manager of Man United. We're fans of Man United. What are we supposed to do? Sit here and, keep feeling sorry for them? I think you can take the rivalry out of it sometimes and say, as a quick passing comment, and say, yeah, they're unlucky, of course. And if it happened to us, we'd feel it. If it happened to Leicester, they'd feel it. If it happened to City, they'd feel it. But, I don't expect Oli to sit there and tell us how sorry he feels for flipping for Liverpool, to be honest. Why would he? Why should he? Especially when we've got our own shit to sort out. We're not perfect. We still got a lot to sort out ourselves. Another comment he said here is, I can't say anything about Liverpool's season. I've not watched them too closely and followed them because I've got my own problems and challenges. We're just thinking about winning ourselves. Now, do you believe that? There's 2 ways of that. You could either say he's lying because he has been watching Liverpool because he wants to see how they're getting on and laugh or whatever, or this is just shithousery, saying I don't look at teams below me, doing what Jose done before he got sacked. I think it was the North London derby, and they're saying to him, Arsenal this or that. He goes, I look above. I don't look below. Like, I'm not bothered. Maybe Ollie's just coming out of a little bit of shithousery there. But the last bit of it, though, is kind of vintage Ollie. We're just thinking about winning ourselves. It's the cliche what you say in press conferences, because Ollie's not a Jose type. Ollie's not a Pep type, and he's certainly not a Klopp type. He doesn't really bite at things. The only time I seen Ollie bite, which I was like, go on, Ollie, was that Everton press conference he done. And it was just before the game at Goodison Park. And he was like, they want us to lose. And we're not going to give them that satisfaction of us losing. And to be fair to him, I don't think we've lost since in the league. He was basically saying, oh no, we lost against Sheffield United. But we haven't lost much. But he was saying that basically the authority, I think it's the Premier League, and how they were scheduling the games. We got back from Europe, and then we had a game at like 12 o'clock and that on the Sunday. He was like, you're taking the piss out of us. Or it could have even been Saturday. It was a piss take anyway, whichever it was. And that was the only time I've seen him get riled up. So he's not like a Klopp or a Guardiola, or definitely a Jose. He's not going to do it. Shyam says, hey, Joy, if you can add the questions asked as well, will make us understand the responses better. Big up Flex in United Stand. We could probably do that. The capabilities are endless here at the United Stand. You know what I mean? Or to be fair, I could just get it in my ear. I could get it in my ear and then just say what the question was before I actually read out the quote. So we can work on that. Thanks for the super chat, Shyam. Appreciate that. Guys, the petition as well, keep going. I see it's on 98k now as well. So I don't know if because we've just kind of been shouting it out, the numbers of that are going up. I love to see it. Do not lose sight of what's going on. Solskjaer spoke about the protest. We spoke about that a little bit as well. And it's massive. We've got to be on these owners. We're going to talk about very, very shortly about Woodward's grovelling comments that came out from the fan forum today. There was also an open letter penned by Must as well today. And I thought that was brilliant what the guys over there at Must had put out. So make sure you guys check that out as well. I'll be reposting that on social media as well. Make sure you guys check that out before 3 o'clock. And also, to finish off on what Ollie was saying, he did also say there's no fresh injury concerns as well. And the question that would have been asked is, how's the team looking? Are there any injuries? And he went on to say, no, there's no new injury. So we know Martial's out. We know Phil Jones is out. And there's nothing outstanding from that. So, but just before we move away from the Liverpool game, I want us to go strong. I really want us to go strong, man. We're due to mash these lot up. Seriously, man, we're due to break these lot up, man, because we haven't beaten them in the league since Rashford turned Trent inside out. I want to say 2-1 in that game. That was when Eric Bailly done the flipping Maradona turn on the halfway line on Salah. But we haven't beaten them in the league since then. Definitely not at Anfield for a while. We haven't beat them at Anfield since Onefield. Since the bicycle kick that Juan Mata scored. So we owe them one. And when we played them early in the season at Anfield, I was pissed because we should have beat them then as well. We should have beat them then as well. So I think we should go strong against them. Maybe you have to make a couple of changes. You might, bring in Dan James if you need to. Rest Marcus Rashford. He needs to rest. Any opportunity we've got to rest Marcus Rashford, I'm taking it. Me personally, I know I'll probably be way off the mark. He'll probably start the game. But I would probably rest him. If that meant Dan James has to play on the right-hand side and you bench Marcus, I actually would do that for this Liverpool game, and I'd just go strong everywhere else. Having said that, though, I'm lying. Don't listen to me, because having said that, I want Cavani to start, but Greenwood should start because he didn't start the last game. So I would start Greenwood on the right, Cavani up front, and I'd go Pogba on the left again, Bruno in midfield, and I'd probably bring in Matic. I'd go with Matic and Fred, maybe. That's what I'll do. But Pogba played so well on that left-hand side yesterday. I think you've got to keep him there. But I like the fact that we're being professional about this. We've got to go and beat Liverpool up. And you know what? How good would it be as well? I saw Jurgen Klopp in his press conference saying it would, Man United may be a little bit tired from playing in Europa League last night, but then he laughed and said, I'm sure they'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? But how good would it be to basically put the final nail in their European coffin? That would be good. That would be good. I want us to be instrumental in them not getting Champions League. They've lost their league title in 1 year. And although it's not really us to celebrate because we didn't win it back off them. But anyway, they're not champions anymore. And they didn't make Champions League, just to top off a horrible season for them. Call me horrible. I don't give a shit. I want to pile the misery onto them. Not that I want their players to be injured. I don't wish that. But I want us to put in a performance on them. As well as also, we're playing well at the minute. As after that game, especially, like, I'm here for that. I want to pam Liverpool up properly. Do you know what I'm saying? I want to see Salah in Luke Shaw's pocket. I don't want to see Alex Telles starting because just to give Luke Shaw rest. No, it's Liverpool at home. They're not doing good. They got 2 draws out of the last 2 games. It was at Newcastle and someone else. Can't remember who. And they're in a shit vein of form. Leeds was the other draw, sorry. And they're in a shit run of form. Let's go beat them. Let's compile their misery. Why would we want to let them off the hook? I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not for that. So smash a like on the video, guys, if you're new. Subscribe if you're new as well. While I have a little sip of water. And we're through to the next part of the press conference reaction as well, and some of the stuff from Ed Woodward. BTS says, but if we win the Europa, then 5th place in the league will get Champions League. So we're gifting them it. You're right, aren't you? So if we win the Europa League, oh yeah, then top 4. Oh no, yeah. Yeah, but it still won't be the Champions League. Or will it? This is nuts. I need to know. Yeah, because you know what? If we finish in the top 4, but we win the Europa League, doesn't that mean that 5th place gets, because we get automatically into the Champions League by winning the Europa League? Does that mean that fifth place? No, yeah, it's not that. Yeah. No, it's not that. It's not that. If Arsenal were to win, if someone outside the top 4 was to win the Europa League, obviously you get in it. It doesn't matter where you finish. But not if you finish 5th, there's no way you can get to the Champions League. If we win the Europa League but we finish 2nd, it doesn't go to the 5th place team. It's just nothing. 5th place will just go into the Europa League as normal, like the 6th place would. You had me there. I'm listening. I'm thinking, this is some ESL bullshit, that is. What's this? You can finish 5th but get in the Champions League. The only way you can finish 5th and get in the Champions League is if you win the flipping Europa League, not off of the league. That you had me there, BTS. You had me. But no, unfortunately, fortunately, you wasn't right. But I think you must have just got mixed up there. Orator says, Tuanzebe's game time should be increased next season. The lad has so much potential, and I'd hate to see him wasting away on the bench. Chris Bree says, the thoughts on Liverpool possibly getting a Champions League place if we win the Europa and they finish 5th. I don't know where this is coming from, Chris Bree. I've just literally spoke about this. That's not going to happen. You don't finish 5th, and the team who wins the Europa League finishes 2nd, so technically they've qualified. What you guys are saying is basically if you can't qualify for the Champions League twice, but it doesn't work like that. It's just null and void. If it's just, you know, when Chelsea did it, when Chelsea beat Arsenal in the Europa League final, they won the Europa League, but they were also already in the top 4. The 5th place team didn't get in. You know, you still only have the 4 teams in the Champions League. You don't get 5. The only way you get that is if an English team who doesn't finish in the top 4 wins the Europa League, i.e. Arsenal, then would have 5 teams in the Champions League next year. But other than that, it ain't going to be that. Stop getting in my head. It ain't going to be that. Right. Anyway, on to Ed Woodward, because this was just... I tweeted, I was like, Ed Woodward, Grovelling, not interested. Not interested, mate, because all that's happened now is they've all conspired. Like I said, big up Line of Duty. If you don't watch it, make sure you do watch it. But big up Line of Duty. They are an OCG. They're an organized crime group. That's what they were doing. They all sat down, all these owners, all these CEOs, and conspired to commit a crime. They went forward and committed the crime, and then, or they were, maybe you could say they were about to, and they realized the backlash and thought better of it. They've been outed in public. Now we're getting all the groveling, all the saying sorry, saying I didn't mean it, and all of this stuff. I even saw things like, yeah, okay, maybe do you know what though? It's not technically a crime, yeah. And I know you can get into all this. You don't want to get sued and all that, but let's just take it for it is. It would have been seen as an act of crime on football. Do you know what I'm saying? It would have two fingers up to the tradition of football. It's an analogy. It's a metaphor. So if there are any contract lawyers watching and stuff, and you want to try and sue me for saying that, disclaimer. But you guys get what I mean. Now, it would have been shocking on football what they were conspiring to do. That's just my line of duty analogy. You know, they're a group of people who got together to do something wrong. Yeah, shove that analogy up your ass. How about that? They all sat there wanting to flip in F football, yeah, and ruin it. And they tried to do it in secret and come out with this big bombshell, realized it wasn't going to work. And now they're coming to me and saying sorry, coming to us and saying sorry. And we're supposed to just be like, yeah, at least they've realized now, you know. Do you know what? I've got more sympathy with, or more understanding with other fans who do that to their owners. Like I said, the Man City fans aren't going to want their owners out from this. Liverpool fans aren't going to want their owners out from this. Tottenham fans aren't going to want their owners out from this. They just got a new stadium. All right, they're run a little bit nuts. They ain't got a manager right now and stuff like that. But they're looking to build. Man City are flipping about to win a double potentially, or poor man's treble, if you want to say that. You know, they've got unrivaled success from being nobodies. Chelsea aren't going to want Roman Abramovich out. They're more susceptible to actually accept their owners' apologies. You know, the Henry guy at Liverpool, the Fenway Sports Group, whatever they are. You know, the Liverpool fans aren't going to say, get out of our club, you've ruined it. They're just going to say, wow, you nearly absolutely give us a bad name there. What the hell are you doing? Like, say sorry. We'll accept the apology more so. And then they probably will look for a little bit of reform. But us and Arsenal, but us especially, we ain't looking to listen to no apologies and then start believing the shit now. They've been there 16 years. 16 years, and Joel Glazer's done one media piece for the club. And now all of a sudden he's got this to say. And all of a sudden as well, Ed Woodward, you're gone, mate. You're gone. You've given your resignation in. Some reports were trying to say, oh, he gave his resignation because, oh, he couldn't bear the thought of the Super League and stuff like that. Listen, mate, back to Line of Duty, like I said before. Again, if you don't watch it, I apologize, but it is the sickest show. The people that get corrupt by the OCG, they don't get off of it. Usually, you know, you can't be corrupt and say, but they made me do it, but not face any ramification. Chris B says, sorry, my bad. We'll get fifth if Chelsea or Man City win the Champions League. I'm not sure, mate. Honestly, I'll go back to that later. These are Ed Woodward's comments, though. He says, I know that you will feel angry. I don't even want to try and read it in his voice. I know that you will feel angry and let down by the lack of consultation and by the way the Super League proposal failed to recognise the vital principle of open competition. Proper discussion would have helped us avoid the mistake we made. Like, oh, that's the first bit of the quote. What? Yeah, you're right, mate. Oh, you should have listened to us. Yeah, cool. All right. Fair enough. Just quickly, a super chat here. Don't want it to time out. Check ESPN Twitter. Cavani will sign the thing. I will get there, Daniel. That is later on in the show. We'll talk about Cavani. Edward Wood also went on to say, while there would have been a substantial increase in solidarity payments from the leading clubs in the Super League, the rest of the pyramid across Europe, we fully stop. He's basically trying to say that good would have come out of this. Hold on a minute. While there would have been a substantial increase in solidarity payments from the leading clubs in the Super League to the rest of the pyramid across Europe. So basically, the people that you've just shat on, you're saying that, oh, we were going to just drop them a little bit of dough. Like, you know, even whilst trying to say sorry, you're still being a dick about it. Like, excuse my language at this time of the day, but it's just annoying to read. Like, you can't even apologize properly. We don't want to hear about what the positives could have been. You know, while there would have been substantial as well. That's insinuating that it's a lot. Substantial increase in solidarity payments. Solidarity. Do you know what the meaning of solidarity is? To have solidarity means you're together. It means that you're in support of stuff. Then people there was no solidarity there. You shat on them. That's not solidarity. That's division. That's conquering. That's, you know what I mean? That's dictatorship. That's changing the name of sport. That's changing the whole integrity of all sport, let alone just football. You're taking out competition, which is the main ingredient of sport, the fact that you can win or lose. So don't try and come with the solidarity shit. Honestly. It's just so frustrating. Then he said, "We fully accept that there were fundamental elements which were badly misjudged. Just take out the solidarity bit and just put that again, trying to cover their own asses." And this is the, excuse me, this is the reason. This is the reason why we don't buy it. We're not interested. And if I don't speak for you, and you do take their apology, then you're a more understanding person than me. I like to see the good in everyone. People call me Mr. Soft. People call me Mr. Soft all the time. Someone gets to me, or someone does me wrong, or even if it's someone I don't really like, I try and kind of go, "Oh, you know what? Maybe they meant this. Maybe they meant that." Try and see the good in everyone. That's me as nature. But this, you got to see it for what it is. Like, honestly, I would urge you, if you're one of the people trying to look at this and say, "Well, at least they've said sorry now," maybe Ed didn't want to do it. It's not really all his fault. It isn't all his fault, actually. It is mainly from the Glazers. But Ed's part of this. The Glazers have realised now. Do not buy that bullshit. I'll tell you that for free. Do not buy it. Now all of a sudden they want to, repair their relationship. Let's go on to some more quotes as well. As Joel said last week. As Joel, I don't. As Joel said, that's your mate, that's your boy. As Joel already said, guys, just say as the owners said. Now I could be nitpicking, but again, just the tone of it, like, it don't sound like you're serious. It sounds like you still F with these guys. It sounds like they've done you over, hung you out to dry, and because you're leaving anyway, you're just still cool with them. Oh, mate. As Joel said last week, we failed to give enough weight to the essential principles and traditions of sporting merit, which are so vital to football, not just in domestic competition, but in European competitions since the mid to 1950s. Exactly. You're just shitting on the Busby Babes. You are. If you haven't read it, right, go and read the open letter that Must have written on behalf of the fans. I think it was absolutely brilliant. They spoke about, what Sir Matt Busby's vision was. You have to remember what Sir Matt Busby fought against the English football authorities to actually play in Europe. Do you know that? Like, he had to fight. We were the first ones to actually be in there. It wasn't a thing. And Sir Matt Busby's thing was, you want to call yourself the best, you have to go and play against the best. He fought for that. He broke down that barrier. And that game against Red Star Belgrade that we won, that, and then to go on to play Munich in the next leg, that was in the name of competition. That was in the name of fairness, and that was in the name of Sir Matt Busby, who'd worked his arse off to get us into a position to earn our spot, to say that we're the best, and then 10 years later to win it in '68, to be on top of the world. That would have been a massive two fingers up. And now you want to say, it goes against the essential principles and traditions. How could you not think about that first time? Why do you need us, the fans, to remind you to do that now? Ridiculous. Exactly. It wasn't. This wasn't just a quick thing. You can't just come to us and just try and apologize. I'm just gonna agree with you. We want to restate our commitment. This is the funny bit. We want to restate our commitment to those traditions. I can assure you that we have learned our lesson. Sorry, we won't do it again. We've learned. You sound like a little kid who's like, your mum says, "Listen, until you finish your dinner or whatever, don't go and take no sweets and cookies and that." And then your mum's not looking; she's gone out. Yeah, and you're in there. Sorry, I've learnt my lesson, Mum. I'll eat my dinner next time. Don't wash. Don't wash. You sound childish. You sound silly. I can assure you that we've learnt our lesson from the events of the past week, and we do not seek any revival of the Super League plans. Oh, well, that's nice. Thanks for telling us. Thanks for reassuring us that you don't plan on doing this bullshit again. Well, really, do we even believe that? Do we even believe that? There's probably going to be something else in a different form. I mean, looking at like Mark's Hypermega League on his YouTube, exactly, over on That's Football. You look at it and say, well, you got to look at what UEFA are doing. You look at what UEFA are doing. They're proposing something new in 2024, which isn't squeaky clean, by the way. Like I always said, we were being asked to choose between the lesser of two evils, and the inquest can start afterwards. There is going to be a big change in football, where some of these greedy owners, again, will come to the forefront, wanting to take more of the pie. Like I say, Sky, BT, Amazon, whoever it is who pays the rights for these things, the Premier League, they're not squeaky clean in this. They're gonna want their chunk of the pie back again. Do you know what I mean? That's not going to change. So it's going to come. We just have to wait for it. But to say that, oh, we're just going to give you a little, reassurance that we're not going to seek any revival of the Super League. Well, I should think not. Honestly. Oh, needed that. Next quote. Manchester United is fortunate to be in a relatively stronger position than many clubs because of resilience of our self-sustaining model. Man United is fortunate to be in a relatively stronger position than many clubs because of the resilience of our self-sustaining model. Exactly. Like, we make our own money, which is why we're so pissed off that the Glazers are bleeding us dry and won't pay off the debts. We make our own money. We're a big commodity. We're a big club. And look at the way that you guys are running the club. We have a disciplined long-term approach which has allowed us to navigate the pandemic while continuing to invest in the team, which we will continue to do this summer. There it is. You see that? Dropping it in, which we will continue to do this summer. Basically, just let them know about signings, yeah? Try and get a marquee signing. Maybe the fans will forget. We ain't forgetting. You can go and get us Neymar, Haaland, and Mbappe if you want in the summer. We're not going to forget that you lot treat the club like shit and the Glazers don't care. We're not going to forget. We will now continue working with the rest of the football community to address the long-term challenges facing the game. The long-term challenges facing the game are people like you. What's going on? The long-term challenges is greedy bastards wanting more money. You are part of the Greedy Bastards Association who want more money. So you're talking about yourselves. We will continue working with the rest of the football community, which you didn't do in the first place. You just went off in your own little community. So lies, to address the long-term challenges facing the game. The long-term challenges facing the game are people like the Glazers. What's going on? This is just... It's just, honestly, someone said there, Asat says, Flex, don't swear. Apologies. But I don't know, man. When you read it and then you try and make sense of it, it just makes you think, what are we doing? So basically save it from ourselves, because our owners, along with other owners, that's the threat. That's the challenges that the game faces. What challenges does football face? You could say, all right, VAR, because where are we going with that? That needs to change. It faced the pandemic. That's something that obviously we all couldn't. I understand that. No one can foresee that. What other challenges does it face, apart from corruption, apart from greedy billionaire owners who want more? Money in the game in general. Like, that's what it is. That's the challenges. Okay, it has to progress. Football has to progress. They brought in technology. Things have to change, like in society. I'm not even against that. I'm all about evolution, just in life. Like, things have to change. Technology moves on. I get that, but come on, man. Come on. To say that we will now continue. How are you going to continue to do it? Because you weren't doing it before. In fact, you're lying. You should say we're now going to start to, not continue, because you weren't doing it before. You was going off in your own little thing, trying to flipping shit on the rest of the football pyramid. That's what you were doing. So don't now try and say, oh, we've done this really bad thing, but now we're just going to continue working with the rest of the football community to address the long-term challenges facing the game. What kind of stupidness is that? You weren't doing it before. Change the word and say, actually, we've realized now we're actually going to start working with the community, the football community. It just doesn't make sense. So those are pretty much, most of what Ed Woodward said. The full transcripts are out there in the Manchester United app. Make sure you check it out. And I'm sure we've got them on the United Stand Twitter account as well. which got about half an hour there as well. So onto another bit of breaking news though. Cavani staying. Last bit of the show. Cavani staying. I want to talk about that because this was reported by, and I can't pronounce his name properly to be honest with you. I'm gonna go Moise Lawrence. Moily Lawrence. That's what I'm gonna go. However, he is an ESPN correspondent in Barcelona, ESPN correspondent in Barcelona. And he's basically saying that Manchester United, Edinson Cavani, has decided to stay at Man United and honour his contract. He did have doubts, but he's going to stay. I held my hands up yesterday and said, "Look, I've changed my stance on Cavani. I do hold my hands up. I was in the camp of saying, you know what, mate, just go. It looks we can't get regular games out of you. It's not like you're scoring loads of goals." And most of all, I actually respect his situation. Us as fans, we forget that these players are human beings. We often forget that, and we forget that they got family. We forget that they've got family. We forget that he's miles away from home during COVID, and his family's not with him. I understand that, so I respect it if he does leave. But I am over the moon if he does stay. You look at last night. Like I said, what would worry me, which is why I was kind of for Cavani staying, which would want to be one of the biggest positives of him staying, is we can reinvest that money into other areas. It buys us time. I've not been one to be too happy about this stopgap mentality with the striker situation. I want us to just buy a striker outright who's going to be our striker for the next 5, with the intention of them being our striker for the next 5 years plus. I want us to do that. But with the pandemic, I get it. And with the other positions that we need filling, I get it. Harry Kane, yes, I would love him here, but to spend our whole budget in one go and keep the team as it is, nah, we've got to get that midfield sorted. I don't know what we're going to do with the centre-back. Now we've signed Bailly. Like I said, if I stand corrected and I hold my hands up, if in the summer we're sitting here with Rafael Varane shaking Ollie's hand, signing a contract, if we're sitting here saying that after they've kept Eric Bailly, then great. But I think that was an intention that we're not going to buy a centre-back. But by keeping Cavani, though, it does put us in a very strong position because, as you can see, he's fit. When he is fit, he's fit as a fiddle. And more importantly, how good is he? Like the way he links the play, his finishing, his weight of pass, his decision making, his work rate is second to none. We don't have another striker who can do that. And to go and pay for someone who can do that, you're talking top level strikers like Haaland, like Kane, like Lewandowski, like a Benzema. Who obviously did extremely difficult to get, like Lukaku. He's an elite level striker. But anyway, you get my drift on that. David Naheen says, "Big up, Flex. Just got to work, bro. We almost got the petition full. Bring fans on cams." Big up, David, Deli guy. He's always about. He never lets us down. Joshua Bowler says, "If we play like we did yesterday, we can outscore most teams. Forget playing for clean sheets. Let's just win by scoring more goals. Just go for it, 100%. Too much of football, Joshua. I agree with you. Too much of football is nip and tuck. Try and hang in there. Don't concede. Away goal. All of that. I love the fact that we just went for it in second half yesterday. I know we were losing. We had to change something. We had to kind of go for it. But me and Mark were saying at halftime yesterday, this game isn't about away goals now. This is going to be about who scores more. And it's almost like that's what happens when you take the reins off and say, you know what, let's fucking go for this. And we did that. So yeah, I'm happy about that rumor, or that report, should I say, that's picked up a bit of traction that Cavani might stay. It did go on to say that it's going to be confirmed next week. We'll have to wait and see if Man United do confirm that, or if indeed more I don't want to be rude to the journalists that done it, but more familiar journalists, I'm not saying more credible, more familiar journalists that we know start reporting that. If that starts happening and that starts gathering pace, you can usually get a good idea as to whether it's true or if there's any weight behind it. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. I'm looking forward to that. I hope he does stay. Like I said, it gives us more money to pump into other areas of the pitch. And big up to Zed Sleepy Jesus, which is the latest. He or she is the latest member of United Stand Members Club. Thanks for watching, everybody. Remember the petition. You can see the petition link is there. We've linked it for you guys as well. So make sure you sign the petition, guys. We've got to keep on these owners. Please, Flex, please go live on Instagram. It's fun, says J Links fam. Next Instagram will be tomorrow. Actually, no, it'll be on game day. It'll be on game day. So we'll be doing that on Sunday as well. Instagram live. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Smash a like on the video. Remember to sign a petition. Also, check out the open letter from Must. It is brilliant. I think it outlines exactly how we feel as Man United fans. So make sure you guys check that out. And if you are going up to protest on Sunday, keep safe, do it in the right way. Like Ollie said, be peaceful about it, but be passionate. And let's keep remaining united. Guys, I've just dropped my lids there. Peace. I'm out of it.